I always wonder, with someone who is doing so well on a platform like YouTube where the algorithm's always changing,
Hmm.
so many YouTubers I speak to say that they get burnout eventually. They get like creative burnout and
Yep.
they just like delete their channel. You've seen a lot of it recently over the last couple of years where YouTubers hit 10 million and they just stop.
Yep.
Has that ever crossed your mind to stop?
Oh, of course. I
Really?
mean, all the time. But
Seriously?
yeah, but I mean, I feel like that's what half this podcast has been about how I don't want to do things, but I push through and do it. I think they're just reasonable humans. Like a lot of them are chasing a goal of like, oh, I just want this money so I can take care of these things. It could be noble things like retire my mom or just not have to worry about money. And then they go, well, why would I suffer now? I'm good.
When was the closest you came to quitting?
Oh, I mean, probably countless times. I mean, when I was in solitary confinement for 7 days, I mean, that was fucking miserable. I mean, I did quit a video. I've quit a lot of videos. Like,
No, I mean, as a creator.
um, I mean, I guess I never truly would have quit. I mean, my biggest thing would be I just would have quit for like a week and been like, fuck, let me sleep 9 hours a night and like, but like I spent we did a video where we spent 7 days on a desert island. First time we filmed it, on day 2, I woke up on the beach and I had literally, I didn't know Sam sleeves were a thing. I had like 700 bug bites up and down my legs, all over my body. I was sunburned. I was like, a little bit of me was like, damn, am I gonna die? Like, this is crazy how much like bug bites were everywhere. My skin was so red and I couldn't see straight. And so I ended up quitting on day 2, which is brutal because you spend all this time and money and you have a crew out there and you flew out there and it's opportunity cost. It's like that's a 7-day window we could have got a video and uploaded it and now we don't. Like canceling a video like that is literally the worst thing that can happen from an entrepreneur's perspective. And that was like, and you have moments like those and it's like, fuck, like this isn't even fun. Fuck this shit.
But what about YouTube as a whole? Because I feel like YouTube is like throwing coal into a train and you just have to keep throwing it in there once you've started. You just can never stop throwing it
No,
in.
you're running on a treadmill cranked up to the max, especially if you want to be a top tier creator like me.
Yeah.
And it's just like, who can stay on the treadmill the longest? Because it never slows down. If anything, you're making it faster. But no, I mean, I don't think there's ever unironically a time where I actually would have quit. It just breaks probably would have been nice.
And when you think forward at that treadmill, can you see yourself doing it for the next 2, 3, 4 decades?
Oh yeah, of course. I don't have any intention of ever stopping.
Love. Something that came into my life a couple of years ago. You announced, I think over Christmas time, proposed, I think like Boxing Day or New Year's Eve.
Yeah, it was on Christmas Day.
Oh, Christmas Day.
Because her family was in town, so I proposed. Yeah.
Okay. How does that fit into this craziness?
She's literally, you could probably count on your hands the amount of people on the planet that actually would make a good partner for me, and she's one of them. She really understands that work is what I live for, what keeps me going, and she supports me, and she understands how important it is. And it's the big thing is hanging out with Tia, my fiance, is so frictionless. We play the same video games, we watch the same shows, we're very interested in the same things. She loves learning like I do, so it's exciting to see what lecture she listened to online that day, or like whatever weird book she's reading, and she just like everything about being around her is very frictionless, which is great because like obviously I don't have much time at the house, and so like the last thing that I need is to come home from work and there be friction, and so we don't fight. It's I sometimes I'm like, wow, this is like my best friend. And she's hot. This is great, and so it's like it feels weird sometimes.
People, I mean, anyone listening now that's in a relationship, I guess the question they'd be thinking is, when do you spend time together?
Mostly at nights. But the beauty is she gears her schedule around mine. So like she'll work when I'm working, and then she'll just travel with me. And so honestly, a lot of it is on planes, a lot of it's in car rides, or an hour before bed or in the morning, that kind of stuff. But it's like, because there are pockets of breaks on set and things like that. So it's just, it's really hard to find someone who is intelligent, actually has their own hobbies, things going for them, independent, that's also willing to mold their life around mine and not see it as a demeaning thing. Because like, yeah, if she was just like, well, I have this thing going on and I have to prioritize my life, I would never see her. But because she's willing to, mold her life around mine and my work schedule, that's everything. And it's rare that someone's willing to do that while, being as, in my opinion, at least from what I've seen, as intelligent and independent as she is.
Parents always message me and say, Steve, wait till you have kids.
Oh yeah. And that's the thing. Like my lifestyle right now would not work for kids. So I want to wait. I want kids, but I want to wait as long as possible because if I'm gonna have kids, I got to be a great dad. Like I really, really enjoy mentoring people. I love mentoring, younger entrepreneurs and like help. Like I've told this. I think I told this story on Joe Rogan. I helped one of my friends go from like 40K a month in revenue to 400K on YouTube, and I do kind of stuff like that all the time. I just like one of my other friends has a snack CPG brand, and I helped him grow it to 8 figures in revenue just for fun. I would just call him a couple times a month, and it's like there's something so satisfying about helping other people succeed. And so I would love to have a couple kids and just like really mentor them into like being badasses. But yeah, not anytime soon. Like I would be so absent if we had kids. So just gotta like find that right time in the Venn diagram where I could actually be present in that.
And your business empire, I think, is much bigger than most people realize. I imagine
Probably,
the majority of people probably don't really understand the context of business, so they don't really get it. They might see you as a YouTuber or a creator. But from the research that I've done, you run a very, very large business.
Yeah, I mean, well, we do 9 figures in Feastables. I mean, we can say that, yeah.
9 figures in Feastables. So the business must be worth several billions of dollars.
Overall, I mean, you could do something like that, yeah.
I'm not going to get you to try and hazard a guess. I'm sure you know, but I'm not going to ask you to. But
the business would be worth a lot of money.
Are you a billionaire?
On paper, yeah, but I mean, in my actual bank account, it's less than $1 million. So.
Do you pay yourself at all?
A little bit, but I also I have some assistants and things like that. So it's like I try to just pay myself what I spend, personally a month, just to like stay even.
How do you think about money in all of this? Because most people in their lives are pursuing money so that they can chill out and retire, but you seem to be pursuing it purely for the sake of reinvesting it back into the system.
Money is fuel to grow a business.
And then you make money from the business, and then
to keep growing. Yeah, and then you find a business that you enjoy that is better for Mother Nature or Earth or people, and there you go. You have a fulfilled life. That's my theory. I just don't. When I'm 70, I don't want to look back and have regrets.
When is enough enough? Such a cliche question that I'm asked a lot.
Enough, like building the business? Never. I mean, I just want to keep, like, building a business is like a video game. It's just fun, Like with Feastables right now, we're the largest ethically sourced chocolate company in America, and like it's just fun to like look at something that's been done the same way for 100 years and go, how do we just flip this on its head and fuck up this industry? And how can we pay our farmers a living income? Not use child labor, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's like, I think if I was just doing mundane things like everyone else, I probably would be bored as fuck. If I would just sold chocolate like everyone else, made the same repetitive YouTube videos like everyone else, I probably would be like, all right, get me out of this. I want to retire. But it's not what we're doing. Like, we're changing industries. We're impacting the world. Like, this is the point of life, in my opinion.
You could do so much with the gazillion people that listen and watch your videos. You could start almost any business and it'd be successful. Yeah. You could have almost any social impact and it'd be profound and save a gazillion people's lives. Do you struggle with focus?
No, I mean, I do wonder, sometimes should we be doing more, but I've really found a good groove with Feastables. I keep looking over there because there's Feastables sitting over there. I do feel like I've hit a good groove with that and the ethical sourcing on it. And no, I mean, yeah, obviously I get a bajillion opportunities, but just, right now I think I said earlier, this is one of the few things in life that it's scratched the same itch as YouTube, where building Feastables is equally as fun as making videos for me.
It is so delicious.
Thank you.
It is so delicious. I'd really love to just spend a moment talking about the ethical sourcing piece, because I don't think that's something I didn't understand until I did some research on it.
Yeah.
Why does that matter so much? And when you say ethical sourcing, what's the difference between what you do and what normal chocolate companies do?
Big chocolate in America. Well, the big thing is when I got into chocolate, I didn't know any of these things. We used to source our cocoa from Peru, cacao, which ethical sourcing is not really an issue there. But the problem is, majority of the world's cocoa comes from West Africa, and so as we got bigger, everyone's like, hey, you need to switch your supply chain to West Africa. I'm like, cool. And so then I started studying and reading up about it, and I noticed that 46% of labor in West Africa on cocoa farms is child labor, and I was like, that can't be accurate. And then I started digging deeper and deeper, and I was like, holy shit, it's just almost half of labor is child labor. And so I started talking to all the big chocolate companies, or not all of them, but as many as I could get hold of. And I was like, so what do you guys do about this whole child labor thing? And they're constantly just telling me, like, it just is what it is. That's how chocolate always has been. And I was like, whoa, you guys make like $1 billion a year in profit. You don't see an issue with that being on the back of little kids? And they're like, no. And then I have this crazy clip on. I have a documentary guy. I think you saw him, Jeff, who follows me around. Crazy clip where I'm meeting with like a big. I gotta be as vague as possible because they're gonna murder me if we got time back to them. But like a big supplier, we'll just leave it vague like that. And I asked them, I was like, so do you have any way I can pay extra to not use child labor or anything like that, or any options? And they're just like, no. And I my literal documentary guys is like filming, and I'm in like this big boardroom, and I look at the camera, I'm like, oh shit, they just said that on camera. And so I did all this research, and it was just like, yeah, no. And especially in America, like there's some European chocolate brands that try, but in America, like really no one really cared. I mean, there's plenty of options and plenty of time to fix it, plenty of money to fix it. So that just kind of honestly pissed me off, and like that. So then I just was like, how do we solve this? And so then it sent me down the rabbit hole. Everything points back to like, to the reason chocolate in America is so cheap is because they just don't, not the reason, but one of the reasons they just pay the farmers so little. Like farmers make less than $1 a day. So like because of that, they're forced to use child labor because I mean, they literally just don't even have money to pay someone who's not a child. How many kids do you think are in child labor in West Africa, just on cocoa farms? You might have saw it in that
5,000?
No, it's 1.5 million.
You're joking.
Yeah, it's over 1 million. It's crazy. So what we need to do is we need to, in my head, get to $1 billion a year in revenue as fast as possible while being ethically sourced and being profitable. A big part of it is we have to be profitable while doing it, because then I can point and go, look, we achieve scale ethically and we're making money. It's not that you can't do it. You just don't want to. And then, and maybe we give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they just truly don't know how to do it at scale, and maybe it'll open their eyes and they'll be like, oh, I guess it is possible, and they'll start to change their ways. More than likely they won't. But over time, I hope we can just shine a light on it using my platform and, just show the model works. And then, I don't know, something I would love to do in the long run is like, how there's like the fair trade logo. Maybe I make my own version of it and I help other chocolate companies source their cacao ethically and, or something. And, and I just educate people on like, if it doesn't have the symbol, it's probably using child labor and something. There's some way where I could play my cards over the next 10 years where we get over 1 million kids out of child labor on cocoa farms. And so I just got to connect the dots and figure out the correct way to do it.
This might sound like a really obvious question, but it won't be to everybody. Why don't you care so much?
Bro, I've been on these farms. I don't want to get rich on the back of little kids. I mean, it's just kind of, I feel like it's kind of obvious, maybe to other people in chocolate, they don't care, but the first thing when I heard about it, I was like, why is this a thing?
It reminds me somewhat of Elon Musk and what his mission was with Tesla. He kind of knew that if he was able to prove that you can have fast, nice electric cars, then the rest of the industry could give up their excuses that it's not possible.
Exactly.
What if someone comes along though and they say, okay, Jimmy, we'll give you 5 billion for Feastables?
Hell no, I ain't selling that shit.
You're never selling it?
No, because the first thing they would do to up the margins is they just drop the ethical sourcing.
Have people come along and offered to buy your YouTube channel?
I mean, yeah, I've been offered $1 billion here or crazy amounts of money there, but I mean, it's, what's funny is Zuck got that famous $1 billion offer for Facebook, and he said, what was it? He was like, why would I sell this social media platform? I would just take the money and start a new one, and I kind of like the one I have, so why don't I just keep it? And I every time I get, which I haven't in a while, but back in the day, I used to like jokingly poke around just to see what people would offer me, and I would get those offers, and then I would always just be like, yeah, I mean, I would just do the same thing I'm doing now, so I might as well just keep doing what I'm doing now. The money wouldn't really change anything.
Well done. And I don't think you've yet to get the credit you deserve for the lengths you've gone to with Feastables. No, but I think it's really important. I know you're not doing it for credit at all. I know that you're doing it to get the message out there so that the industry changes. But I think someone like you with a platform that you have that's able to produce chocolate that is fucking delicious. They sent me a box of it about 6 months ago. And I hate so much of the fucking thing.
I'm thinking of updating. Yeah, I mean, if you hand them to me, like hand me a couple bars, there's a lot of stuff that... the problem is, like, if you look at this and this, from a distance, you can't tell really the difference between the flavors. Like, this is dark sea salt, this is just dark chocolate. So I'm about to update the wrappers where we're going to put like colored tips here so you can tell the flavors from far away. I think that's very important. Another thing too that there's just a you made a mistake. You put these in front of me. Now I'm just thinking about the other thing I've been experimenting, and the newer renders are looking good with putting like right here, every bite helps get kids out of child labor, putting that on the front. And then we're messing around with different machinery. I feel like the images of the chocolate on the front could be a little higher quality. The back is pretty ass. I want to, put some more messaging on the back of it. There's a lot that needs to be, like the white tips here, it just makes it so obvious from far away what this flavor is, whereas all these blend in. And so, yeah, brutal, gotta fix it.
You talked about your friends calling you and asking you for business advice and you helping them drive their businesses up, but just watching you there pick apart your own business made me think that there's a lot of entrepreneurs that watch our show that are early in their own businesses, and many of them will be...
You're gonna fail a ton. I mean, when I first started chocolate, I mean, it was hilarious how bad I fucked up. Our original bars were like very thin. There's a reason why like chocolate bars have these like break points here where they like break easily. I didn't know that. And so mine was just one solid sheet of chocolate, but that's almost like a piece of glass. Whereas if you drop it, it just shatters into like a bunch of little pieces. And I also didn't know that there's a thing called a package engineer. And can you hand me a box of Feastables? My original chocolate box, when you pop these open and put it on a shelf, this obviously the problem's fixed. But if this was sitting on a shelf, when you grab this one, these would all slide forward and then they would fall out of the box. Or the box would fall off the shelf because of the weight, because there wasn't right balance at the bottom. And the lips here, this didn't used to be a thing. So these were open and there's just a bottom lip here.
Yeah.
And so they would fall out like that. And then the bars, because we didn't have the natural break points, would shatter like glass.
Who noticed that?
Oh, well, me. And the thing is, this is an old team in Feastables. I would tell them like, there's too many broken bars. When I go into Walmart, I'm seeing too many that are broken. They told me like, you're worrying about this too much. It's not that big of an issue. It happens to everyone. And I got to the point where it was just fucking pissing me off because I hated like grabbing a bar off the ground or seeing on the shelf all these like shattered chocolate bars that I put like I paid people to put GoPros in like a bag of Lay's chips pointed at, because I tried to get Walmart to give me the security camera footage and they wouldn't. So I put hidden GoPros in a bunch of random Walmarts just to point it at the Feastable bars just to see why are they fucking breaking so much. There's so many shots of like, like a mom grabbing a bar and then she'd be looking at it literally like this, and then you just see the box just go, and they would just fall off the shelf, and then they just put it up, and some of the bars would be broken. And it would just happen over and over and over again because we didn't engineer the boxes correctly. They didn't do anything wrong.
Do you know how atypical that is, what you just said? That you put GoPros...
Yeah, people told me I was crazy. The amount of people who tried to tell me I was illegal, I was like, bro, I don't fucking care. I just need to know why my bars are breaking. Like, I'll delete the footage. And so I did a bunch of just data, and so there's a company called Acosta where you can pay people to go into Walmart. So then I started paying where every week I would send someone into every single Walmart in America to buy all the broken bars, fix up the boxes. It's pretty expensive. I think it's like $100,000 just to send someone into every single Walmart to clean them up. $28 a pop times 5,000. Walmarts. And so I was sending people into Walmart to clean up the broken bars, but I was paying so much money. It was $100,000 a week just to send people in, and then I was buying all these broken bars because I just really didn't want people to go into Walmart and to buy a broken Feastable bar. Like, that is literally the worst, consumer experience you can have. And then I learned what a package engineer is. I was like, holy shit, this is your full-time job to make it where my boxes don't fucking fall over? Where have you been?
But on the point that I was saying, your obsession with the detail of a product is completely atypical. If I was to compare this to a normal YouTuber and their e-commerce brand...
Oh, they wouldn't give a fuck. Yeah.
I
probably spent thousands of hours obsessing over this product. I mean, I know it doesn't feel like it because it's just chocolate, but yeah, I mean, it's a problem. From the ethical sourcing to every little thing about it, like I don't do anything half-assed.
And didn't you drive to a ton of Walmarts, don't you?
Oh, all the time. That's what I do every day. Oh, fuck. We should go hit a Walmart. We didn't even go. He's got a plane he's got to catch. Yeah, it's my favorite thing to do is like sometimes I'll spend all night on Walmart just scanning products and looking at the daily velocities and sales. It's like I had a layover in DC. I live in North Carolina. Then I was like, wait a minute. I could just rent a car and hit like 30 Walmarts on the way home and just drive home. And so then I drove home from DC to North Carolina and visited every Walmart on the East Coast in like the middle of America just to like go look at the chocolate aisle and see all the statistics and things like that.
I asked you earlier on if you struggled.
Fuck, I wish we could go visit a Walmart. You know how fun that would be? It's like, I would love to educate you on the chocolate aisle.
Are Walmart's still open now?
No.
They're not, okay.
But,
we can do it another time.
But usually what I do is I just bang on the door and they let me in.
Of course.
Yeah.
But what you just said there, I feel like I'm getting at something here, because 99.99999% of entrepreneurs that I know that just have one thing to do, just to run their business, don't give that many fucks about the detail. And you have a gazillion things to do. An Amazon show, which is like the highest viewed show of whatever, of all time or whatever. And you have this massive channel. You have your philanthropy. You have all of this stuff going.
100 million followers on TikTok.
100 gazillion followers here, a gazillion followers. The numbers are just unfathomable. And you're still driving to 31 Walmarts to check if your chocolate is breaking.
Yeah, well, and I go in the back when I'm there if it's not on the shelf, and I'll go scan it in and help the employees. And
is that the difference?
Well, you just got to know everything going on. It's just first principles. If I hate when someone in my business is like tells me something that I don't agree with, but I'm too ignorant to be able to challenge them, because then it's like, well, who am I to I guess I got to just take them on their word. But most people tend to pick the easiest route or conform to the status quo. And if I want to lead real innovation and like change the industry, then I got to know every little facet of everything. And so, I mean, at the end of the day, the shelf is where people buy it. So I got to intricately know everything going on at the touch point of the consumer, and how it gets there, how it's being stored at the distribution centers, and then the retailer, and then on the shelf, and what does it look like? What's the experience and everything? Because all these little things add up.
Do you not feel like you spend your whole life fighting people to raise their standards to your standards? Because you don't exist in a world of Mr. Beasts.
Well, that's the thing. I used to think, which I've said a couple of times, it was just content, but I've realized it's just everything I do. Like, I just want to be the best at it. And it's weird, man, because you just look at this chocolate bar and you'd be like, who the fuck cares? But that's the thing. It's what I've really enjoyed the last 2 years is I've gone as in depth on this as I have YouTube. And it's been every bit as fun. I mean, it's very, very fucking difficult and hard, especially the ethical sourcing. And like, I recently spent a week in West Africa, and I went from the bean all the way to the bar, and like worked on the farm and followed the entire QC supply chain and everything. And it's equally as hard as my YouTube channel, but it's also equally as fun. And that was a big eye opener for me, because I never thought I would enjoy something as much as my YouTube channel. And that's what I was saying earlier. I've come to realize I deeply enjoy building businesses and solving hard, complex problems, even though I know this is just chocolate, but I get the complex thing from the ethical sourcing side just on a daily basis. Like that's fun.
With Beast Games, with all the other things going on, your main channel, which is, I guess, you probably still see as your baby to some degree. It's the mothership, right? Because it's the source of.
It's what allows us to do everything. Like, most people buying this aren't buying it because of Beast Games.
Do you ever get paranoia when the views go down?
They haven't gone down yet. They've gone up every year for 14 years.
But do you still get that? Do you still watch the video go live and look at the back end?
No,
you don't.
No, I mean, because it's like I don't know. I just upload a video, and then the next day I look at the retention and the CTR, and if we fucked up, I just, well, what we do is we call them after action reports. So I get all the smartest people in my company. Like we actually just did one. I wish I had it on me, but I pay this guy to just do a very in-depth breakdown of like, here's the retention chart, here's every time someone clicked away, here's where it was the flattest, here's where it was the worst. We'll take, like, so if I upload a video that's 20 minutes, we'll take our last 10, 20-minute videos and we'll go, the median retention on the last 10, 20-minute videos was 10 minutes and 55 seconds is the median. So if the retention on this new video is 11 minutes or above, we did a good job. If it's below that, then we did below average, and blah, blah, blah. And he just does like a giant presentation. And so usually 2 weeks after we upload, we'll look at that with all my top people, and then we'll just be like, what did we fuck up? What did we do well? Cool, move on.
And has there ever been a recent times where you go, I think I need to spend more time on it again and get back in there, and because
all the time, but a lot of that stems from insecurity. I mean, because the thing is, of course, we had a video recently. Every minute someone is eliminated. It didn't perform the best, and our intro was a little repetitive. It was a little dark. we brought back like losers from Beast Games to compete in a main channel video. But the problem is some people thought it was Beast Games. They're like, oh, I've already seen this. But there's just a lot of rookie mistakes there, and it's very easy for me to like, get insecure and like be like, fuck, this is why I need to do the But at the end of the day, it's like, it's not like when I was calling all the shots, I was perfect either. So as long as when people make mistakes, they learn from them. I have a saying like that I tell people all the time, like whenever our new creatives fuck up, I'll look at Tyler, I would go, Tyler's literally cost me tens of millions of dollars in bad decisions. Like, this isn't gonna be the first time you fuck us out of $1 million. As long as you learn from it, it's fine. And so as long as like, that's where these after action reports are important, because as long as when we mess up, we articulate why and it doesn't happen again, then it's just part of it. But yeah, I mean, if the same thing was happening over and over and over again, that fuck, I need to step in. But my guys are just good. Like, they don't make the same mistake twice.
Tell me about experimentation and testing, because people look to you as the real king of like testing and experimentation. How central is this to the success of everything that you do?
Very much, and that's the thing. Like that every minute video, like it flopped, and that was your highest chance of flopping is when you do something new, like really, really new. One of our bigger flops before that too is we did this video where it was like 10 minutes, this room will explode. We built this giant tower, had a guy start at the top, he had to make it. It was a real-time shoot down, press a button. Yeah, it just didn't perform that well. People didn't really like it. It was kind of complicated, blah blah. And it's like you have to be careful because I want a culture where people feel comfortable experimenting and trying and feel fine failing. And so, when that video failed or when, every minute someone's eliminated, like, I don't go and yell at people or call them idiots or anything like that. I just am like, what did we do wrong? All right, here's all the facts. Just make sure it doesn't happen again. Not gonna be the first time you cost me a bunch of money. It's all good. I see this as investing in you guys and we'll just learn from it.
I was gonna say, because or else if there was a culture of that, then people would just make the same videos again, and a lot of YouTubers just churn out the same format.
I'm okay with my people failing. I'm okay with the video being 10 out of 10. Like, as long as we actually took an honest, good try at it, and as long as we failed because we made the wrong shot call, not because we were lazy, not because we didn't put the effort in, etc. As long as it's just like we made an educated decision to test something or try something and it just didn't work, I'm cool with that. We can do that all day. And like, they know that. And I don't yell at people, or get mad at them when they accidentally mess up like that.
I've invested more than £1 million into this company, Perfect 10, and they're also a sponsor of this podcast. I switched over to using matcha as my dominant energy source, and that's where Perfect 10 comes in. They have the matcha powders, they have the matcha drinks, they have the pods, and all of this keeps me focused throughout a very, very long recording day, no matter what's going on. And their team is obsessed with quality, which is why they source their ceremonial grade matcha from Japan. So when people say to me that they don't like the taste of matcha, I'm guessing that they haven't tried Perfect 10. Unlike low quality matcha that has a bitter, grassy taste, Perfect 10 is smooth and naturally sweet. And without knowing it, you're probably a Perfect 10 customer already if you're getting your matcha at places like Blank Street or Joe and the Juice. But now, you can make it yourself at home. So give it a try and we'll see if you still don't like matcha. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you 40% off our matcha if you try it today. Head to perfecthead.com and use code STEVEN40, or if you're in a supermarket, you can get it at Tesco's or Holland & Barrett, or in the Netherlands at Albert Heijn. And those of you in the US, you can get it on Amazon. As you guys know, Whoop is one of my show sponsors. It's also a company that I have invested in, and it's one that you guys ask me about a lot. The biggest question I get asked is why I use Whoop over other wearable technology options. And there is a bunch of reasons, but I think it really comes down to the most overlooked yet crucial feature. Its non-invasive nature. When everything in life seems to be competing for my attention, I turn to Whoop because it doesn't have a screen. And Will Ahmed, the CEO who came on this podcast, told me the reason that there's no screen. Because screens equal distraction. So when I'm in meetings or I'm at the gym, my Whoop doesn't demand my attention. It's there in the background, constantly pulling data and insights from my body that are ready for when I need them. If you've been thinking about joining Whoop, you can head to join.whoop.com/CEO and try Whoop for 30 days, risk-free and zero commitment. That's join.whoop.com/CEO. Let me know how you get on. You've just concluded today the biggest competition show, I think, of all time. Well, it is of all time. I think you've got 50 Guinness.
Well, largest sets in history, most world records in history, largest cash prize in history, most winners in history, most contestants in history, most cameras. Yeah.
And what, 50 Guinness World Records?
Yeah. That we know of. There's probably way more. Yeah.
You said something on stage which I found quite interesting. You said, I kind of feel a bit sad.
Yeah, I know, because every Thursday I got to look forward to like seeing the internet's reaction to Beast Games, and now I'm gonna wake up next Thursday and I don't get to see what people think. It's over.
They describe this in the Olympics as gold medal depression.
Really?
Yeah, they say, I think I might butcher these numbers, but 70% of people after the Olympics, even if they won a gold medal, experience depression afterwards because they've lost their North Star that was giving them meaning into.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not. I guess I'm playfully sad, but I don't. It's fine. I have so much shit going on. I don't even really get to think about that kind of stuff.
And you're on to the next one?
Yeah. So Amazon. Let's get season 2 in the books already. Come on, let's sign a contract. Can't really talk about
it. Is the most. Me and Jack were talking about it earlier on. It is the most incredible thing that I think I've seen on TV, and I think I said to you on the phone the other day. I watch it knowing that unless you do another one, I will never see something on this magnitude and scale.
Yeah, no one wants to do something like that. I mean, because it's fucking hard, man. At those sets, and the thing is, the reason why a lot of reality TV doesn't feel that way, and we could have obviously done much better storytelling, and we will when we do future iterations. But the at its crux, like what people don't see is like to have 1,000 cameras recording, the amount of infrastructure. Like we broke a world record for most camera cables ran. Like the most miles of camera cables, and like and the millions of dollars we had to spend on storage, and millions of dollars in the control room, and the millions upon millions of dollars of hardware to edit it, and like having to bring in Adobe to custom change the Adobe software where you could actually have that many multicams. It's like it is the actual infrastructure to actually be able to do that is incredibly difficult, and that's why usually what they'll do is they'll be like, all right, here's a 1 hour, like if you're filming a reality show, here's a 1 hour window. You know, they'll send out story producers, they'll put a camera on you, they'll be like, yo, can you say this line? You're kind of our villain. This is what we're looking for. They'll kind of tell you what to say, and then they'll write the notes down and they'll catalog it for the editors. Whereas we're just like, fuck it. We're going to be filming, 24/7, all these cameras. You guys be yourselves. We'll just capture it because you don't know when someone's going to do something weird. You don't know when someone's going to whisper to someone and form an alliance. You don't know. So you literally have to just be rolling, and you need these to be acceptable angles. So you need multiple, an A cam and a B cam and all this covered, which creates a monumental fuckload of footage. But that's what allowed us, amongst many things, that's one of the biggest competitive advantages we had when filming Beast Games is we put in the effort to set up all this infrastructure where we could actually capture it and just tell the story how it is instead of having to use story producers to put words in people's mouths. But it's a fucking nightmare, man. Like, I had over 150 people editing that. I mean, we were combing through unfathomable amounts of footage and everything. And I mean, even things from like the computer network and our local IT constantly crashing because there's just so much footage there. And like, if I were to send all the Beast Games footage to just one editor, it would probably be like $300,000 in hard drives. And if you have 150 editors, it's just impossible. So you spend millions of dollars and you build a central server room, and so we have our own server racks and everything, and then you have them remote in there. But even then, just due to the sheer volume of footage, Adobe and everything was just constantly crashing, and it's like it was a nightmare on the back end. But it's great because that's why we were able to tell what actually happened and why it feels different, because we were recording nonstop 24/7.
I was wondering as I was watching it if Amazon are aware of the fact that you're just going to give away the money like this, like when you like flip the coin and it adds another $5 million.
But that didn't affect them. I lost a ton of money filming the show, so that came out of my pocket.
Really?
Yeah, we spent way too much money on it. I lost tens of millions of dollars on that show.
Really?
Yeah, I'm an idiot.
Because the headlines came out as like Amazon give Mr. Beast 100 million to do show. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm doing the math. I'm thinking, okay, so that he spent 20 odd million on the prizes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we gave away.
So there must be 80 million left or something.
I mean, so episode 1, we spent over $15 million on those towers, building them all. Like that was the most towers ever built, the most hydraulic press or whatever used. I mean, that set was fucking crazy, man. We had to build 1,000 towers that were 10 feet tall, safety test them all, get it where they actually work. We had to literally hardwire them all and build like our own software where we could drop people. We had to put up all the screens. I mean, that's like arguably one of the largest sets ever built in history. That was just episode 1. And that's just like the construction of the set. That's not including, like you said, we gave away over $20 million. I think over $2 million was in episode 1. And then episode 2, we have the city, which that was a $14 million set build. And that was huge. I mean, because that was a real city that they were living in, And then go, but just between the 2 million we gave away plus those 2 sets. I mean, already right there, you're at over $50 million.
How much did the whole thing cost?
That I have been advised not to say because people will hear big number and be like, oh, well, I could have made a good show if I had that kind of money. But the thing is, they couldn't because money isn't everything. Like building and managing it is infinitely harder. But
is it more than 100 million?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
of course. I mean,
well, I just told you how we spent 50 million, and that we're only 2 episodes in.
So how out of pocket are you?
Tens of millions. Yeah, it was not a good financial decision to make Beast Games. I lost money. I would have more money if I didn't film it.
Any regrets?
No, it's great. I mean, but for me, it was about making season 1 as good as possible. I can't let the YouTube community down because creators don't have a good rep when it comes to doing stuff on streaming platforms. And, I'm getting 200 million views of video on average over the course of the first year. And I'm going to talk to these streaming platforms and they're like, we've been burned by creators before. I'm like, bro, I'm not a TikToker that dances. I have a production company and I routinely make spectacles. And even me, these streaming platforms, they weren't taking serious. So I was like, fuck, like if I fail, it's over. Like no streaming platform's ever going to touch a YouTuber ever again. So my big thing was just making sure this is crushed. And, now the doors are opening up. I mean, I'm getting calls from creators left and right and they're like, oh, yeah, streaming platforms, they wouldn't talk to me before. Now they're coming. Like I would try to get a meeting with them and they were like, no. Now they're like begging to like have meetings with them. And I already know of 2 creators that have signed deals just on the back end success of Beast Games, and probably, I mean, hundreds of millions of dollars are going to flow into creators' pockets just because of Beast Games in the next year.
Well, on Rotten Tomatoes, which is not an easy critic to please. No, it was like 90% approval from fans, which is pretty unheard of on Rotten Tomatoes.
I know.
But also, I hear through the grapevine that it is on track to become one of Amazon's biggest shows of all time.
Yeah, see, the problem is I have to wait for them to do a press release. So.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm
Amazon,
just talking about...
I got you. I told him I'd be a good boy and not leak things.
So, but for a YouTuber, quote-unquote YouTuber...
Yeah, well, they did release it. It was their #1 unscripted show of all time. And then, yeah, I mean, I don't think they'd mind me saying the show's very evergreen. Like, usually these shows get a lot of attention and then kind of, like, teeter off. But ours is, like over 700,000 new unique viewers are watching it every single day, like, which is pretty crazy because we maintain that. Like, yeah, it's gonna shatter some pretty crazy records.
And what's the upside for you to continue promoting it now that it's done?
Because I put all this effort in, I want people to see it. Yeah, I don't get paid to all the promotion I'm doing now. I'm not getting paid for.
Really?
But I mean, I guess the upside would be the better season 1 does. The more money I get from season 2, 3, 4, 5, etc.
If I sit here with you in 10 years' time, Jimmy.
Yep. Oh boy.
And everything went to plan. You're 36 at that age.
I already know what you're gonna ask. Yeah, I mean, I hate that kind of stuff because if you ask me, the problem is if you asked me this like 5 years ago, I never would have said anything about Feastables or a lot of the stuff I'm doing now. And so the honest answer is I don't know. I mean, I think in what I'm doing, hopefully by then I have 2 billion subscribers on YouTube. Beast Games is bigger than we ever imagined. Hopefully Feastables has gotten over 1 million kids out of child labor by then. And, I probably have 2 or 3 other businesses that I'm very passionate about that are hopefully crushing. And yeah, I don't know.
And personally?
Maybe I'll have a kid by then. I don't know. I mean, only time will tell. It won't be until I feel like I could actually have enough time to be a good dad. But I don't even know, man. I don't think about my personal life. I just think about winning and gotta build.
Some photos that I found that I loved.
Oh, okay. Holy shit, is this me or my brother?
This one as well.
Where'd you get these?
Internet.
These are on
These are like the really iconic photos that I can see really interesting.
I don't think I've ever seen this one.
Really?
Yeah, I don't.
Do you recognize anything in that photo?
No, I don't. I was just thinking, like, what awesome. I might be at a military base, because when we were younger, both my parents were in the military, so they were traveling a lot. So this might just be like some random house. Interesting. I do recognize this, because this photo in the background, I'm sure it's thrown up on screen. I think that was, yeah, that's on the hallway beside her bathroom. I haven't been to my mom's house in so long. Interesting.
You do so much for children, but if you could whisper in that child's ear something about...
Buy Bitcoin. What was it, like 2 pennies back then? No, I know, because I wouldn't say anything if you gave me a microphone to talk to him. Because the problem is I'd be worried that it would change, the outcome of how I became. And like even though I know earlier on I was probably sounded a little depressed because shit's hard, but I am happy with the position I am in, and I would be worried that like this is definitely a very confused child that's not fitting in, that feels like a fucking freak. Not this young one, I don't know who the fuck he's thinking, but this one right here probably is around the age where I was like, fuck, I'm just a fucking weirdo. I don't fit in with anyone. Why does no one want to build businesses and succeed? But I think going through that journey was important, and it's it just gives me a lot of conviction with things. So I probably, if I wasn't allowed to say buy Bitcoin, I just wouldn't say anything.
What about to her?
Yeah, to my mom, I mean, what's funny is these are two different photos of my mom. You had like this version of my mom. I don't think there's anything I could say that would, because she's in the military, and they just beat like systems and order into your head, and this is probably right around the time where we lost everything, and so this, and she's at a very low point in her life, and so I don't think there's anything I could say that ever would have like convinced her that her lunatic son is heading down the right path. And but you can see the difference here where it's almost indicative where she's smiling in this photo. This is when I gave her $100,000. This is after we made it. This is after we had the whole conversation where she finally was like, okay, I'll trust you. There's the whatever 12, 13 years between these two photos was a very hard journey, especially when I stopped going to college and I got straight zeros. And I mean, she thought, oh, his life's fucking over. I just wasted 18 years of my life, So same thing. I don't think there's anything I could say that would have changed anything. If anything, it would have just gave her a heart attack.
Do you tell her now what she means to you? And how
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah,
you're good at that.
Yeah, and she's very happy, and like, yeah, we're in a really good spot now. I love my mom. I mean, because obviously I wouldn't be here without her. You know what I mean? If she didn't work multiple jobs and do all the things she did to put me where I am. I mean, even little things like, she would give me like some months, like, $20, $30, and then I would take that money and use that to like buy stuff to like help make videos or whatever. And even just the fact that we had internet, you know what I mean, and things like that, which, I mean, pretty basic now. It wasn't as common back then. You used to get a phone call and you're like, house internet. I don't know if you would go out. Yeah. And so like, it wasn't the best position, but she gave me all the tools I needed to succeed. Not, on purpose, but
she must be so shocked.
Well, she's used to it now, but yeah, I mean, on the come up, I mean, it was, yeah, I mean, imagine being her, I mean, she used to, when I turned 16, like, she couldn't afford to buy me a car. She couldn't afford, like, the minivan we had, like, it was a fucking piece of shit, like, needed a repair. She couldn't afford it. Like, smoke was coming out the front of it. I mean, she was an absolute mess. And then she comes home and I'm just like, I'm making YouTube videos. Fuck math homework, Mom. And, and she's just like, I think she was making $40,000 a year. Because we didn't talk about finances much when we were younger, but I remember I got a $40,000 brand deal. And then she told me that's how much I make in a year. And I was like, holy shit. At the time I was like, I thought you made way more than 40 grand a year. And then I was like, why the fuck are you working? Like, I'm getting paid this per video now on brand deals. And so, yeah.
What an incredible woman.
I know, she's great. From everything she went through to now, she just needs to be happy. I try not to stress her out. She's been through enough stress. Like, her job is, I've been making her, I mean, she wants to do it, but like exercise routinely, do all the like system, like body health scans, and, get on the vitamin grind and everything. Cause like, I'm not having kids anytime soon, but obviously when I do have kids, I really want her to be involved, and she needs to be able to play with them and things like that. So I'm like, stress is going to kill you. You're not allowed to be stressed. You need to do all these health protocols. You need to be like, because, you might be in your 70s when I have kids. Like, you need to be able to move around, which means you might potentially be 80 when they're like 14 or 15. Like, come on, like, what you do now is will represent how active you'll be able to be in my kids' lives. So like, and we do have these conversations in a playful way. So she's taking her health very serious for the future.
You're not a man that seems to have many fears, but that appears to be one of them, a fear that we both share.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, she'll just never die. My mom's gonna live forever. We'll be fine. Brian Johnson.
We have a closing tradition on this podcast where the last guest leaves a question for the next guest, not knowing who they're leaving it for.
Okay. Do I get hit with the question first, or?
You get hit with a question first.
Okay.
Would you rather die with a sound body or a sound mind?
Sound body or sound? Ooh. I assume if I chose body, then like that would be like dementia or something on the mind. That's hard. Die sound body or sound mind. I mean, what are you if you don't have your mind? I would say mind, to be honest.
Amen.
Yeah.
Jimmy, thank you.
Do I get to write my question now?
You do. I want to say something to you though. I have to give you a lot of credit because so many people like us, like our teams, we have stolen so much from you. We've stolen your principles, your mentality, and it's made us be better creators, which has allowed us to live the lives that we get to live and do these things that we love the most. And there's always a cost, I think, to being different and to being weird. There's an upside, but there's also a really, really, really big cost. And you pay that cost most when you're younger and you have to fit into the system and you don't get to choose who you hang around with and stuff. But then as an adult, as you said, we all then clap for the unique ones, the weird ones, and we steal from them and we aspire to be them and we learn from them. And you have, in the very short amount of time that I've been speaking to you for like a week or something, have blown my mind open. I got to see the behind the scenes of Beast Games, and my entire mind as I sat there on the sofa, I remember where I was sat when I saw the behind the scenes, just exploded. And you made me, in that moment, realize how much I'd limited myself. As someone that I considers themselves to be really ambitious, I'd limited myself. And so I wanted to say thank you, because you're not just doing that for me, you're doing that for tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people all at the same time. And you're giving them the roadmap, but also a blueprint and the mentality and the belief that they too don't have to live the life that school or the system has told them they
Fit
have.
in the box, agreed.
Exactly. So thank you so much, honestly, because we need more people like you, and I'm your biggest fan.
Thank you.
I really, really appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, let's see if we can break into it one more.
You're so funny. Some of the most successful, fascinating and insightful people in the world have sat across from me at this table, and at the end of every conversation I ask them to leave a question behind in the famous diary of a CEO. And it's a question designed to spark the kind of conversations that matter most, the kind of conversations that can change your life. We then take those questions and we put them on these cards. On every single card you can see the person who left the question they asked, and on the other side, if you scan that barcode, you can see who answered it next. Something I know a lot of you have wanted to know, and the only way to find out is by getting yourself some conversation cards, which you can play at home with friends and family, at work with colleagues, and also with total strangers on holiday. I'll put a link to the conversation cards in the description below, and you can get yours at thediary.com.
I'm going to share with you the 7 habits of millionaires.
Ajde.
Kome? Šta je to? Četvorki?
Ma ja četvorki imam.
Jel dobijaš pojene?
Ne.
Medalja, jel se računa?
Ne.
Znači 6 plus trebaš igrati.
Da. Prvo kao prvo idem da izginem.
To ćemo imati svi prilike. Gdje
Pa
ideš?
da, ali idem ovdje da je odspotam malo.
Na sredinu, ne?
Ma naprno malo ovdje pa onda bježim. Bježim u bazu, za misiju trebam pobijediti jednoga, pobijediti partiju,
Kepa u glavu.
da uzeti bazu. Sve treba.
Ko da ručno okreće kupova. I imaš.
Opet pogoditi.
Jebo sam ti nita. Uspio si ga zapaliti?
Da se treba paliti. Mene pogoditi su. Mali uvijek ovdje.
Imam veći problem.
A jabao, znači... Gledam gdje je njihov heavy, znači došao je Lola, došao do mene, nabio me, znači... U facu. Tu ima 5 komada u sredini, a naš heavy otišao dole. Vidiš gdje je naš heavy otišao?
Koji?
Čučil.
Viš gdje je KV1 i T150?
KV1, sad T150, vidim, znači debilizam na vrhunski debilizam. Ne možeš ti kad su ljudi debili, bog, znači nije to do igre. Ljudi su debili. Koji to igraju sada. Kontaš, razumiješ? Debilčine, obične debilčine, znači on ode sa heavyjem mjesto. Pređe čitavu mapu, tamo iskine korasada i onda kaže joj jeste glupi ostali. Pa ti si glup, što ne budeš tamo gdje heavy bude pa da tamo da ih odradiš svoj posao. I sad on krenuo u sredinu mače tamo, među kuće. Sad je gotovo, sad ljudi saletaju ga se s 4 strane.
Od maksimalne šrije. Bježimo da T2, ja T2 ide na...
Ne možeš ti pobjeći.
Story just came out. His 4-year-old daughter was molested by this guy, and you could only imagine the rage, the rage that must have been going through that man's mind. I mean, I get it.
Apparently it was 100 times.
And he's got a little daughter, man. She's 4. She's a tiny, cute little adorable girl. And what does that do to her head to have that happen 100 times?
That guy deserves everything what Kane did.
My only wish is that he did it with his hands. That he just ran that car off the road, pulled that guy out of the car, and beat him to death.
And even that would have been too good for him.
Story just came out.
Što ljudi pomešaju jeste oni misle uspeh u biznisu, a uspeh
nije samo pare.
Ja pričam o uspehu an general. Ne može neko ko je profesor geografije da bude milioner. On je uspešan, izveo jednu generaciju ljudi, uspešan je otac, majka, vaspitao je decu, ne znam, dobar je komšija. To je isto uspeh na neki način. Znači, imaš ljudi koji su genetski zdravi, koji ne puše, ne piju, ne drogiraju se, vode računa i živeće 100 godina. Oni su ekstremno uspešni. Generalno na planeti, mnogo ti lakše da budeš milijarder nego 100-godišnjak. Ne znam da li znaš. To ljudi pomešaju jedno.
Znači, 3-3. Bum. Nemoj pucati, bo ostavi ovdje. Vidiš, Akile se znači. Odakle te pucao? Aha. Ma sam ta lagano okušiš, to je totalno okolo da okušiš, koliko te brige. Viš da onaj Akiles je idiot. Evo vidiš, sad vidiš gdje je ovaj. Te jedan Heavy će obići okolo do Bumela.
Jedan Heavy je tu kod njega u radu.
Dvojica ste nabili.
Ne. To je jedan heavy mi.
Aha. Isti onaj Akiles, šta on radi, mogu otići da uzma se do sada da ih izvučemo. Rad šta hoće, ne ode YouTube gledat. King Kong, long long. Jesi ti njega spotao ili on? Tamo je.
Nije.
Ona je, njih dvojice se spotaju. Hamilton pokrade sve kilove.
Ma koga jebe. Bitno je da on njih pobije.
Ja.
Mi pobijeti, sad će to.